Hi everyone, I'm back with another week of video, and in this one I'm sharing a week of vegan lunchbox ideas, all in the spirit of autumn. And I'm happy to say that Monbento has sponsored this video, and I'll be using two of their lunchboxes in the video. And the first one is their monbento square bento box, which is really cool. It has two tiers and it's held together with an elastic strap. And what's nice about this box is that it comes with two sizes of the elastic strap, so you can use it as the one tier or both tiers, so it makes it versatile. And in one of the compartments, the square bento box also has a snack pot, which is detachable, so you can use it or not use it. And the other box I'm using is the lib container, the monbento lib box, and it's good for soups. It keeps your food hot for up to 2 hours, and you can also use it in the microwave. And it also comes with a cool spoon that's just attached to the lid, so it's really easy to use. And then I also have some little sauce pots I'll be using for condiments, as well as a cutlery packet that fits into the lid of the square box. So that's a little bit about Monbento, and if you're interested in purchasing one of their boxes, I'll leave a discount code for you in the description box, as well as a link so that you can find them. But for now, let's get into the video and get to cooking. This first recipe I've made for you is inspired by a dish I had abroad a few years ago, and I'm starting by just cutting up some cooked carrot, and I'm chopping it into cubes-ish. And what I've done is I've boiled the carrot after I halved it and removed the ends. So I just boil it until it's tender. And then I'm also taking some parsley, some flat leaf parsley, that I'm just chopping up finely to add to the salad as well. And I love to add herbs to dishes. I think it adds a nice freshness. And then I'm also going to cut up some cooked beetroot, and as you can see, I've boiled the beetroot as well until it's soft. Then I check with a fork, and then it's really easy to peel it afterwards. I just boil it with the peel, and once it's cooled, I just push it off the flesh of the beetroot. And then I just chop the beetroot into similar sized squares as the carrots, and I place it all in a bowl so that I can mix it up. And now you might be thinking that it seems a little bit laborious to make this for lunch, but all the recipes in this video, or pretty much all of them, are great for meal prepping. So while a dish might take a little bit of time to make, you can make many servings at once. And then into the bowl, once I've mixed the vegetables, I add some cooked quinoa, as well as lemon juice and some salt. And I'm also adding in some cracked black pepper before I mix it all up again. And that's the base for the salad done. So next up, I'm just gonna cut open a pomegranate, and I wanted to show you how I do this because I think it's a pretty good way. So I just score the outside all around the pomegranate, and then I crack it open with my hands and keep cracking it open so that I can get into the grooves and get the little jewels out. And as you can see, I don't mind getting messy. And once I've done that, I'm toasting some seeds. Here I have some pumpkin seeds and some sunflower seeds. You could also add linseeds if you want. And then I'm gonna start assembling my lunch. So into one of the sauce pots, I'm adding some tahini, just plain tahini that I can drizzle over my salad. And into the main compartment of the square bento box, I'm adding in the salad and sprinkling over some pomegranate jewels, before I'm also sprinkling over some of the toasted seeds. And the beauty with toasted seeds is you can make a lot at once and then just keep it on hand to add to various dishes and salads as you go. And into the snack pot of the other compartment of the square box, I'm adding some hummus, and then I'm topping it with some chopped parsley and some seeds as well as the pomegranate jewels to make it look pretty and taste lovely. And I'm using a store-bought hummus, but I'll leave a hummus recipe in the description box. And then to the other side of the square box, I'm just adding in some flatbread that I bought in a Middle Eastern store, but you could use any bread or crackers that you like to dip into the hummus. And that's our first lunch done. Next up is a creamy curried lentils and mushrooms dish, which I'm using the lid bowl for, as you will see later. And as with any stew I make, I'm starting with some onion that I just slice into half moons. And then I just set it aside as I prep some other ingredients like the garlic, which I also love to put in pretty much all my dishes. I'm sure you've noticed by now. So I just crack it open so that I can remove the peel, and then I just chop it up roughly or as finely as you want. And then I'm grabbing some mushrooms that I'm just slicing, and I'm just using some white button mushrooms, but you could use pretty much any mushroom you like here. Mix them up, take what's in season where you are. And then I'm getting ready to cook up the stew, so I'm adding some oil to a pan, and then I'm adding in the onions so that I can just saute them for a couple of minutes to let them soften. And then I'm adding in the garlic as well and the mushrooms so that they can cook together, and I just stir it up. And then, as you can see, the mushrooms will start to release quite a bit of water, so I just cook that off before I add some spices. So here I have some curry powder, chili flakes and cinnamon, and it all goes in at once, and I let it saute for just another minute to let the flavors marry. And then I'm adding in some tomato puree that I'm also just mixing into that mixture that I've just cooked up. And then I'm pouring in some water as well as some vegan cream, and I'm just using a soy-based cream, but you could use some coconut milk if you prefer. And then I'm adding some beluga lentils that I've soaked for a couple of hours. So I start by just draining them and rinsing them. And then I'm just gonna add them into the pot. And the soaking helps with the cooking time. It cooks faster. It also removes some anti-nutrients, which means the nutrients in the lentils will be more bioavailable. And yeah, I just stir the lentils in, and then I let it simmer until the lentils are tender. But you will find the full recipe linked in the description box as always, so you get the full directions there. And while the lentils are cooking away, I'm preparing a little salad to go into my lunch as well. So I just start by chopping up some cucumber into cubes, and then I'm also chopping up some red onion, but you could use spring onion or any kind of onion you like. So I just pop that into the bowl as well so that I can mix it up with some coriander too. So I just grab some coriander leaves and chop them up as well. And then in they go into that same bowl, and the remainder of the chopped coriander I'm going to put into one of the little condiment pots so that I can put it onto my stew later when I'm ready to eat it. And then I continue with the salads. I just squeeze in some lime juice, and I also am going to add some salt as well as some black pepper. Once that's all in the bowl, I'm just gonna mix it all up to combine, and this is a really nice fresh addition to the hearty stew. And again, I'm gonna use that Middle Eastern flatbread, so I'll just pop it into the other side of the square bento box, and I'll be able to dip that into the stew later. So I'm opening up the lid box to prepare for the stew, and then I go off and finish it off with some soy sauce to make a little bit more of an umami flavor. And I'm also adding in nutritional yeast, which helps with this as well, but also has lots of good nutrients in there, B vitamins, and a lot of protein as well, actually. So then I'm just taking it off the heat, and I'm ready to pop it all in the bowl, and it's ready to go. As you can see, it's become very creamy and quite thick, which is how I like it. So I just pop the coriander on top, and I have my salad on the side as well as my bread to dip in. So it's a really nice balanced dish that's super easy to meal prep as well, and it's great for dinner also. The next recipe we're making is a roasted pumpkin taco, and I'm starting by just removing all the seeds from half a pumpkin. And here I've got a Hokkaido pumpkin, but you could use pretty much any kind of pumpkin you like. Butternut squash would work really well here as well. So just remove the seeds, and then I remove the end and I peel it. Even though you could eat the peel, I prefer to do it for this recipe. So I'm just using my knife, which I find the easiest as it's quite a hard vegetable. And then I'm cutting it into slices, so equal size slices, about 1 centimeter wide, and then I chop that into little cubes. And everything in this video seems to be in little cubes, but there you go, that's how I like it apparently. So then I just add the pumpkin cubes onto a pan, and I drizzle over some rapeseed oil, but you could use any kind of oil you like. And then I'm also adding some spices, some cumin, some smoked paprika, as well as some chili flakes to give it a little bit of a Mexican touch. And I mix it all up to coat the pumpkin with the spices. And then I'm also adding in some salt and some black pepper. You mustn't forget to season your food, which I almost did there. And then I just mix that in as well, and I take the pan away to roast in the oven. And I just roast it until the pumpkin is tender and a little bit caramelized on the outside. But while that's cooking away, I'm gonna slice up some cabbage. And the cabbage is a great autumn-winter vegetable, so you've seen me use it a lot and you will keep seeing me use it a lot. So I just slice it up finely and I add it to a bowl, add some lime juice as well as some salt, and then I just go ahead and give it a little bit of a massage to make it a bit softer. Don't forget the black pepper again. And like I said, I just give it a good massage to soften it up a bit, make it easier to chew. And then I set it aside while I prepare some mashed avocado, or a type of guacamole, I guess you could say. So I'm just opening up my avocado like so, and then I go ahead and take the pip out, and then I slice it first one way and then the other way. And this is how I find it the easiest to then mash it later. And then I just squeeze it out of the peel or the shell or whatever we should call it onto a plate so that I can mash it up later. Then I'm adding a bit of chopped red onion again, as well as a pinch of salt and some squeezed lime juice. And then once I've squeezed the lime juice onto the plate, I'm going ahead and mashing it all together until it's a consistency that I like. I know some people like it smooth, some people like it chunky, so you do you. And then I'm placing some corn tortillas into my square bento box, and I just placed 3 of them together in the box and they fit perfectly, so these boxes are really great for tacos. And then I add in my massaged cabbage, as well as some just drained and rinsed black beans, my roasted pumpkin cubes, and I'm also gonna add on some chopped red onion again to give it a little bit of a kick, and some fresh coriander. But again, I know some people don't like coriander, so just leave it out if you don't like it, or add another herb, maybe some parsley or whatever herbs you like. So that's the tacos all done, but then I'm gonna add in some sauces into my sauce pots that I can add on to the tacos later, which means that they won't get soggy from the sauces before I'm gonna eat them. You just add it straight on when I'm gonna eat them. So I'm adding in some hot salsa into the big sauce pot and some vegan sour cream into the small one. And then I'm going ahead and adding the guacamole or the mashed avocado into the snack pot of the other section of the square bento box, and I sprinkle over some chili flakes again before adding some tortilla chips into the other section to dip into the guacamole. And those are my tacos. They're delicious, especially after you drizzle the sauces on top. And yeah, I hope you will enjoy this lunch as well. And for the next recipe, I'm making a cheesy kale salad. But before we start making this main salad component, we're gonna roast some broccoli for the snack section. So I just cut up the broccoli, and I'm also cutting up the stem because there's definitely nothing wrong with that. You can eat that as well. But first I just peel off the rough outer layer so that I can chop it into little slices and roast them along with the florets, which I will also cut into smaller bite-sized pieces so that they are easy to eat in the lunchbox. So once I've chopped all the broccoli up, I'm adding that onto a baking tray, and I just pop it all on there, drizzle it with a little bit of rapeseed oil again, and then I'm adding a little bit of soy sauce to season it before I just mix it all up and take it away to roast. And again, I'm just roasting it until it's nice and tender, as well as a little bit charred on the edges. And then I start to rip up some kale that I've destemmed and rinsed. So yeah, I'm just ripping it up in small pieces, but if you prefer, you could chop it with a knife as well. You can see the size I'm going for here. And then I'm just drizzling on some light tahini, which is the base for the dressing. And I'm also adding in some soy sauce again, as well as some lemon juice. And here comes the cheesy goodness, which is nutritional yeast. It's a key component in the salad, so don't miss it out. And then I just massage all of these ingredients into the kale, which coats it and makes this nice dressing for the whole salad. So I just go ahead and add in some cooked chickpeas, as well as some cooked quinoa and some sun-dried tomatoes, and I mix that all in there, and that's the salad done. It's really delicious. It has a very savory, cheesy flavor. So I'm just adding that into the main compartment of the square bento box to fill it up with salady goodness. And then over the top, I'm gonna sprinkle some tamari roasted seeds. And again, I'll leave a link in the description box for how I make these. They're easy to make ahead and keep in a jar. And I'm also sprinkling on some chopped spring onions before I go ahead and place the roasted broccoli into the snack pot of the other section of the square bento box. And yeah, just fill that up and add some chopped spring onion onto there as well, because why not? And into the other section of the snack box, I'm gonna add in some fruit for a nice dessert. So I'm adding in some grapes as well as some plums. Plums are great in autumn, so don't miss out. And that's the salad done, full of green goodness. So we've come to the end, and for the final recipe, we're gonna make a super green soup that I've shared the recipe for on my Instagram before, but I thought it was worth adding it to this autumn video, because who doesn't love soup? So I start by chopping up some onion and garlic, which adds a good flavor as a base for the soup. And I'm just chopping the garlic up roughly because I'm gonna blitz the soup later anyway, so it's not important that any of the veg is cut into any particular shape. And then I go ahead and chop up 2 potatoes, and I just cut them in equal sizes so that they'll cook relatively quickly. And then I take the whole thing over to the hob to start cooking the soup. And you'll see what makes it green in a bit, I promise. But first I'm adding a little bit of oil to the pot. You could use water if you prefer to saute in water. And then I saute the onion until it's a little translucent. And then I also add in the garlic and the potatoes, as well as a sprinkling of salt. And then here we have all the greens. I have green peas, broccoli, spinach, and kale, all frozen, so it's super easy to have all these ingredients on hand to make the soup. I'm also adding in a stock cube and some mixed dried herbs, as well as water, a splash of oat milk. You could use any plant milk you prefer though. And then I place the lid over it to let it come to a boil, and then I let it simmer until the potatoes are tender. And while that's simmering away, I'm preparing a dip for the snack pot. I add in some sun-dried tomatoes to already prepared hummus, and I mix it all in to make a delicious filling dip to go with my soup. And yeah, I'll just place this hummus into the snack pot of the square bento box. And here I'm just using the one tier of the box, which is really clever with the square box, that it comes with those 2 elastic straps so you can bring snacks for when you have a soup or something similar. Then I'm just sprinkling over some parsley and some sun-dried tomatoes on top of the hummus. And I'm placing some more parsley into one of the condiment pots, as well as some tamari seeds, which are the ones I used in the last recipe as well, so that I can sprinkle it on my soup before I eat it. Then into the other side of the square bento box, I'm adding in some crackers that I can dip into my hummus. And once all the veggies are tender in the soup, I'm adding in some butter beans. You can use white beans, and then I go ahead and I blitz it all up until it's a super smooth, super green soup. Again, it's a great dish to meal prep and make more than you need for just one lunchbox so that you don't have to make lunches every day. And then I just pop the soup into the lid container and it's ready to serve. And when I'm serving it, I sprinkle over that parsley as well as the roasted tamari seeds. And the fact that I can bring the square box as a snack container makes this more of a well-rounded meal, and it keeps me full. So those are 5 autumn-inspired lunchbox ideas that I hope you will enjoy and try out. And again, I'd like to thank monbento for sponsoring this video. And remember, there is a link to their website in the description box with a discount code as well. Now, I'd like to thank you very much for watching and wish you a lovely day. See you in the next one!